doing there? I'm sitting on the couch. My sister's trying to feed the baby. My mom's talking to me about something, and I'm like trying to make the graphic. And my mom's like, "What are you doing, Jenny?" My sister's like, "She's making a graphic." I was like, "What's a graphic?" I'm like, "It's and we're live."
Yes.
Alrighty, everyone. Hello. Welcome. Um, my name is Jenny Loveday, and I will be your host today. And I am super excited today to have on these three amazing guests. Sadie Lowry, whose name I completely messed up on the graphic, as we were just discussing. Lithia Jenkins, whose name I did not mess up, capitalization and all. And then Hannah Rose, whose name is also correct. And these ladies all work on the Call of the Netherdeep book, which we are very excited to talk about today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves a little bit more in just a moment. But first, I want to talk to you a little bit about who we are, we being Baldman Games, this lovely channel that you are watching. So Baldman Games is one of the premier organizers for Wizards of the Coast Dungeons and Dragons organized play. And what that means is that we are the producer of some of your favorite in-person and online D&D events. So D&D at Gen Con, Origins, Winter Fantasy, our favorite little show in Fort Wayne, Indiana in February, which I know sounds miserable. And then, of course, the monthly D&D virtual play weekends that we do every month, where you can come and play the latest stuff and make friends and I don't know, be awesome and stuff. That's what I do there generally. Make friends mostly. But that said, this is part of our virtual weekends streaming events. Our monthly chat about, and this month we are chatting about Call of the Netherdeep, the newest book from the D&D team, which is our Critical Role release, and will be the first venture into Critical Role now as an organized play campaign. And we're super excited about that, and that's what we're going to chat about tonight. All right, that said, I am going to go ahead and let our guests introduce themselves a little bit more. So we'll start from the top and go down. So Sadie, tell everyone a little bit about who you are and what do you do in tabletop games.
Sure. Hi, I'm Sadie Lowry. I am a writer, designer, editor in the space. I have done a lot since I got started. I'm most known for, I think, I wrote a couple of Eberron adventures. I write and edit for Arcadia, which is MCDM's monthly 5e magazine. And I was a writer on Critical Roles called The Netherdeep, which is why we're here, which is super cool. And I mostly hang out on Twitter talking about editing and cupcakes. So I'm super excited to be here.
Team M Dash.
Yes, Team M Dash.
All right. And then next, Latia. You do a
Oh,
lot.
hi. I do too much. I do so many things. Hi, everybody. I'm Lithia Jenkins, like it says down there. Currently, I am the Community Relations Coordinator for Monty Cook Games. I am a streamer, game designer, writer, all of those things. I yell a lot about notebooks and planners and stationery on Twitter. I have undiagnosed ADHD, and I will be the first person to tell you how that journey is going, also on Twitter. Basically, if you would like to know what my brain looks like, just go to my Twitter. But also, I was a writer on Call of the Netherdeep, which is, I think we're all going to do this, which is why we're here today.
Yeah, which is why we're here today. All right, and then last but certainly not least, Hannah.
I am Hannah Rose. I am also a D&D designer, editor, erstwhile wearer of many hats. And I've worked on several official D&D books. And among the books I have worked on are Explorer's Guide to Wildbound, the first Critical Role Wizards of the Coast partnership. And I was one of the lead designers for the Taldore campaign setting Reborn that Critical Role published earlier this year. and also an editor mix on I'm an editor on Call of the Netherdeep.
Woo! All right. Lots of editing and everything, and just so much fun. So, we're all here, of course, because you've all worked on the book, and I know, Hannah, you just kind of went through some of your other experience with Critical Role. We kind of want to briefly touch on, what each of you, your experience with Critical Role individually, whether that's working on it or just you've been watching every single episode live since it first started airing kind of experience, just so people can, get a little bit of grasp around, like, I don't know, your enthusiasm levels for it, which are through the roof, obviously. Um, and then we'll just kind of go through some of the really cool things about the book. But whoever wants to kind of jump in first and fill out, what the rest of your experience with Critical Role is. You got a really cool art print. You collected all of the no, they weren't Beanie Babies. They were, but yeah.
Oh, cute.
I guess I'll start then. You cannot see the level to which I enjoy Critical Role because the top of my bookshelf is hidden. But I've been a fan since March of 2016 when I binged the first 50 some odd episodes in 3 weeks to catch up. And I've been watching ever since. I have regularly attended conventions to see them live. I also contributed in the pre-release period to Explorer's Guide to Wildmount. I contributed 3 adventures to D&D Beyond that were based off of the adventure hooks that you can find in that book. So I contributed Mimics in the Mine, not mind. That would be terrifying. Cackles in the Dark and Storm Celebration, which you can still find on D&D Beyond. And I got to do this, which was like dream fulfilled. I can retire now.
And then you finally got to talk about this.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Sadie, then.
Yeah. I often credit Critical Role as being the reason that I'm here. My first experience with tabletop gaming was I went over to like an ex-roommate's apartment, and her boyfriend ran this like kind of tabletop RPG thing for us, and it was really horrible. It was a very like gotcha type scenario where like he just kept trying to kill us, and it was miserable. I hated it. The whole thing ended up being some big like, and rocks fall and you all die. And so it was like I basically was like, I'm never doing that again. That sucked. And it wasn't until a few years ago, I can't even remember, like 4 or 5 years ago, that I started falling into things like Adventure Zone and Critical Role. And that Critical Role showed me what TTRPGs could be, what the character focused, story focused, very emotionally cathartic stories that you could tell. And I had been in role play communities up to that point, but not TTRPG really. So I basically put on the DM hat, picked up my friends and went, we're playing D&D now. And they went, okay. And my life has been ridiculous ever since. And I really credit the Critical Role team to that, for that. It was so cool. I keep up with Critical Role as much as I can. I'm fairly busy, but I love the world. I love the characters that they bring to life, and getting to write Call of the Netherdeep and take that original passion I have for character-driven, emotionally cathartic stories. The reason I got here, the reason that Critical Role drew me in, and to try to take that and help other people experience that through a Critical Role adventure, it feels like I've come full circle in an immensely cool way.
I somehow did not know that was how you got started in all of this. That's such a cool story. All right, and then Hannah, I know you shared a lot already, but I'm sure we got a little bit more.
Yeah, I got into I got into like doing tabletop design when I joined Twitter and joined D&D Twitter and saw all these amazing people doing things and meeting people and people who weren't just white men doing things and creating things. Um, and through some connections, Matt took a chance on me to help with, because I knew D&D formatting and style. He took a chance on me to help with Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, and that and some other things I was self-publishing and working for on a charity project got Wizards of the Coast to hire me to edit Descent into Avernus, and then Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, and then like 6 other books. And working with the Critical Role team is just something that is so incredible, both personally and professionally. Not because of the number of viewers they have, although that's certainly something exciting, but because as a team they care so much about having fun and being creative and doing things that they want to do, but doing them really well, taking fun seriously and doing it well. And I love knowing that the community is so engaged and detail oriented and is going to pour over and take and enjoy what we create. And yeah, that's truly, one of the greatest joys is the collaboration and the knowledge that people care so much.
Yes, and that actually kind of dovetails really well into kind of what I want to talk about next. So, as Baldman Games, and our focus is on organized play, we're now bringing Critical Role to like a whole subsection of the community who may not have been, as exposed to it as people who live on Twitter or, live on Twitch, like us, and who, just don't have the time in their lives to devote to every Thursday night keeping up with Critical Role or binging 50 episodes at once. I haven't done that since college.
Podcast is the only way I think.
Yeah.
Electric. My friends were way ahead of me. But, so we're bringing this now to this audience that is super invested in D&D and playing in these overarching stories that they share with, dozens, hundreds, thousands of friends around the world. And, hoping to bring that same sense of awe and wonder to them. And, since you've all worked on the book, I kind of want to get, your thoughts on like what from this do you think is going to be, in your opinion, and I hope you all have different opinions, but maybe not, the thing that's just going to draw people in and be like, I want this to be my next big world that I explore. Kind of like, Forgotten Realms has been like the big thing for 5e so far, but why not Andrea? Whoever wants it.
Sorry, go ahead.
Something that drew me to Critical Role as a story in multiple campaigns, and I think something that draws me to the world is that it really feels it's a very dynamic world. And the reason it's dynamic and very living and breathing to me is because the PCs, you can tell sort of as you watch the PCs in Matt's worlds navigate what he set up for them, that they have a lot of power to influence how things come out. Matt is not shy about letting them be big and influential, but he's also not shy about letting his villains and his side characters be the same. And what this results in is a network, a whole world of these dynamic points that make decisions and push and influence things, and sometimes butt up against each other and sometimes push each other over. And that dynamic, living, breathing world, I think, is so engaging for people who come to it. I don't want to say that the Forgotten Realms feels in some ways like it's in a stasis. I don't think that's true, but I think it feels a little bit more settled. I think it feels like this is the way that the world is. This is the way, and it has a long history, and you are a pebble in that long history. And Critical, like Exandria, feels like you could shake history if you wanted.
Your adventurers, your party might not be the most powerful people in the world. There might be, lots of other powerful and influential people. Like Sadie says, the world is dynamic. It's changing. Things are happening without the influence of adventurers and heroes. It's not only the heroes can come and save us, but there is so much room for player characters to be not the saviors but important, like Sadie said, influential. It's and I think that even though this is the way the campaign's story is told, and Matt sets things up on stream as a dungeon master, it's reflected in the world building as well, that Exandria isn't systems of economics or politics or magic or religious societies. It has all those things in some sense, but it's about stories of people, of beings, of creatures. And all of those people and beings and creatures that have come before have affected the world, and so will your characters.
They have put quite, they've really said it all.
I'm not everything.
Not everything. I'm going to speak to it from more of a mechanical standpoint, as someone who is very intimately familiar with organized play and Adventurers League. And to be fair, I haven't kept up with the adventures as much as I did a couple years ago. But what I like about Netherdeep is that combat does not have to solve everything. It's actually, we would prefer that combat not solve everything. But the opportunity for characters and players to explore alternate ways of solving problems and resolving conflict, it's so much more than your immediate thought being pick up your sword and fight.
And fight and continue fighting and fight. That's not what this journey is here for. But I just say, unlike Witchlight, it's not like, you really shouldn't fight, you should avoid combat all the time, you never have things to fight. Like, there are 2 big dungeon crawls and plenty of demons to fight.
Oh, and I think it's cool that the relationships are legitimately built into the mechanics, that not in multiple places, even that not only are you tracking your various relationships with the different rivals, which is really cool and fairly new and really exciting, but to be vague on the final fight, there is an element to the final fight that is legitimately outside. It's a part of the combat. You're doing it simultaneously with the combat, but it's not combat. It's emotionally driven. And that, the fact that we see this here, I think Critical Role is the place where we would see this first. It speaks to their heart and soul. It speaks to the world that they have built and the world that we get to contribute to, that this is the place where those show up first.
And while Sadie and Lithia are talking about, the mechanics and the design of it, one of my truly absolute favorite things about Call of the Netherdeep as an adventure, and that I think makes it really good for organized play, even when the players aren't familiar at all with Exandria or Critical Role, is that the adventure is set up mechanically to follow a certain story to some extent. But even if 2 groups are having the same sequence of encounters, it's going to feel totally different to each of them. To some extent, this is always true in D&D, but this adventure doesn't only allow for that, it really thrives on it. That the experiences and stories you tell aren't just going to add to the campaign. They're really bringing it to life and enriching it and giving your DM, all of this incredible material to work with that plays directly into the adventure that's written.
And I think that's one thing, Matt has consistently done well throughout all of his stuff is showing that like every event has everyone's different perspective on it. So as you come and you're experiencing the event, you feel like it was totally separate, even if you may have seen the exact same fight in the town square. Like your adventuring party wasn't over there, so you had a totally different experience. And like everyone's experiences, however different they are all valuable in like shaping this big whole picture. And like that's something that he's consistently done very well. And I'm glad like you're saying that that's been brought into this because that's something that I think we need to experience more in organized play and understand that like the differences are part of the beauty. um, all right, I want to, while we're at a pause here, interrupt ourselves and let everyone know that we are doing a giveaway, and Ted's going to start that in chat in a moment. So we're giving away a free Baldman Games adventure that's published on the DMsGuild.com. So that could be any of our Moonshades Rising Shadows storyline, one of our older adventures set in Fawn that maybe features this really cool tiefling Calypso or some Mulder stuff, maybe even like Hillspar or any of the other, cities that Baldman Games has touched on. There's, gosh, over 100 adventures to choose from, and you get to choose your favorite. So, tell us what your favorite adventure is in chat, maybe. But more importantly, enter in that keyword to win, which is going to be !Netherdeep, and that's all lowercase. I'd spell Netherdeep for you, but it is right there on the screen, so I'm not going to bother this time. So it'll be open for the next 20 minutes, and stick around. We'll reach out to you to organize getting your prize to you via message in Twitch once that is over. All right, back to what we were doing. I know, it's so exciting. I love getting everyone loves free stuff. But yeah, so having worked on the adventure, I know it's hard to choose your favorite child, but is there a little bit that you worked on or that you helped, and obviously editing too, you kind of do development and all that jazz, that you're like the most proud of, that you want to be like, this is my baby, everyone love it?
No, it's true. I'm going to talk about one thing I did contribute to, and then one thing that I did not contribute to.
Ooh, I like this. We should all do
this.
Yes. So as far as my contributions, I really like it. It kicks off the book, the Festival of Merit. I love, like, if you read Storm Celebration on D&D Beyond, I love festival games and party games and things that get your party, your players, your characters at the table, things that get them involved in more than just like a combat way. And this was also going to be the moment that you meet the rivals, whether it's whether you meet them as friendly rivals, or whether you absolutely kicked their butt at that pie eating contest and they're not happy about that. But this is going to be the moment that set the foundation for that begins to set the foundation for how you interact with the rivals throughout the whole book.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and actually it's on a podcast that'll come out, but they pointed out how wonderful it is that you meet each of the rivals individually or in pairs, and you get to know them kind of one at a time to help them stand out individually.
It was also my design to have you meet them. Like, you meet some of them doing events that they are very good at, but you also meet some of them, like, for example, Maggie, slight spoilers. Maggie is a big, imposing orc of a woman. Ogre of a woman. I did that one other time this week. Ogre of a woman who you immediately think, her size is like, oh, she's going to like pummel my head in, which, yeah, she might if you make her mad. But you meet her during one of the events that you wouldn't expect to meet her at. I'm not going to spoil that, but one of the festival games is is one that you do not expect to meet her at, and I like that it establishes who the rivals are and their hidden talents or their hidden strengths. But yeah, my soft spot will always be for my festival games. And somebody else is probably going to mention this, but my favorite thing that I did not contribute to is the final dungeon, which was Sadie's baby. And the it is just a masterwork of emotional conflict, and also extremely scary creatures and monsters. And it's just, it's that final stretch that really shows you shows your players like what they are made of. I don't want to spoil anything about it, because Sadie might talk about it, so you'll get more information.
We have a spoiler overlay, so if you get into mild spoilers, we pop that up for people to mute that bad boy.
So those are my two.
It's funny because I was going to say that my favorite thing that I didn't work on, I love Lithia's Festival of Merit. I think it's just such a great way to start the campaign. What I really like about it, and Lithia touched on it.
Great artwork too.
It's got such great artwork. It's so good. What I really like about it is that I have never seen something so quickly relay for so many characters. I mean, this is 5 characters that you're getting to meet. You're relaying to the DM, as you read the text, what these characters are about, and then that is then conveyed through these encounters what these characters are about. You're not just getting to know them, you're not just getting to know what they're strong at, you're getting to know what they want, what's important to them. And that sticks out to me, because that, like, motivation and drive and energy is what sticks out in a player's mind. And so I think Lithia was masterful at giving these scenarios that just make me feel that I don't just know Galsariad. I know what Galsariad wants. I don't just know Io. I know what Io wants. And that's important to me. And that's what sticks out in a player's brain. It was very, very good.
Thanks.
And I think one of the things about the rivals, I could say this without spoilers, one of the things about the rivals that is important to the story and design is that you might be, you might be arch enemies with them. You might, your party might, if they decide to, absolutely hate each other's guts. But the rivals, especially Io, who is basically their leader, are honorable. They, fairly. They're not about, murder and mayhem, and they're not murder hobo rivals. And I think their behavior in the festival games shows that they're not cheating. They want to win, but they're not cheating or being underhanded. And if other people win, they begrudgingly or genuinely congratulate them.
Yeah. It's so good. I also really like a shout out to the Ank'Rel chapter, because I think that was really well. I think it did a good job doing what is an impossible task, which is taking something that is so big and so diverse and so rich with flavor and so alive with everything moving in it, and conveying it in ways that aren't just informative and clear and concise, but also very engaging. I remember reading that chapter and thinking, oh my gosh, I could tell 1,000 stories here. I could see a scene in that location. I could see a scene in that location. Huge props to Mackenzie Darmis for her work on that, and everyone who touched the Ank'Rel chapter. Just masterful work there.
Like, Ank'Rel is like a campaign on its own within this book. Like, you could just spend forever.
I fully expect that you guys are going to spend a long time. I mean, you will spend a long time there because you can, like, go back and forth without spoilers, but I fully expect you guys are going to do a lot there.
I just want to see everything.
And
I have a list of other places you might go. Sorry, Ginny.
Scrolling it is.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
But at the same time, there's so much useful information for DMs and everything that is essential to the adventure and that supports or adds to the adventure and the story is provided.
Mm-hmm.
Agree.
And then, Sadie, were you done with your?
I guess I need to talk about the thing I did.
Oh yeah.
I guess. Oh my gosh, what's my favorite thing about the Netherdeep? That's so hard.
I know. You can think on it. We can come back to you like later in the show.
Let Hannah say something smart, and I'll try to compile my thoughts on the Netherdeep.
All right.
I feel like you've said so many smart and wonderful things about the design there that you'll just have to say them all again. Okay, gosh. So as an editor, I touched a lot of the book. I think my favorite thing that I got to, what can I say about this? My favorite thing that I had a significant hand in was our favorite hot boy, brother of a hot boy, the NPC, Drow Echo Knight that you meet in one of the locations. Oh gosh, I don't think we could put the art up for him. I would say that as spoilers. Oh, he's wonderful. Varen Thalis.
Yeah, there you go. Easier.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the boy. And oh, I love him so much. He is a great character. He's connected to a very popular NPC. He's the brother of a very popular NPC in one of the Critical Role campaigns. But he's also just such this wonderful, fascinating, character who has his own duty and struggles and complexity. Anyway, and working on his writing a stat block was great. So I'm glad I got to provide that for people.
A very interesting character. I always love that, especially when you can be like, also they're like hot boy, hot girl. And you're like,
he's dealing with so much. He has so much.
He's so stressed.
He's so stressed. Someone help him.
Gosh.
Someone let him take a nap, please.
Yeah. Let him take a trance. So, and as for other stuff, oh my gosh, there's so much. But I definitely think that the Ank'Harel chapter is incredible and inspirational and groundbreaking in many ways. Mackenzie was able to draw on both her own cultural experience as someone who is Southeast Asian and a lot of careful research and thought for other historical or cultural inspiration that could be thoughtfully incorporated into this fantasy world. And there's these cool bits about kind of magical technology and the irrigation and these fun locations and food. I need a little Call of the Netherdeep recipe book, and I definitely want Sadie to talk about this herself, but the dungeons and the mechanics and the themes there are just breathtaking, maybe literally. Sorry, that's my cat. She thinks so too.
Which I have a fan in your cat.
Wait. It's, I think often when I read a published adventure, I'm like, this finale, this conclusion seems like it can be really epic, but I'm going to have to do a lot of work to make it feel personal for the players and tailored to the campaign. And in this one, my players are going to do all that work for me. It like sets it up, and it's just, there are things I'll do, but it's really just going to happen and be so incredibly evocative and deep and intense in a really good way.
Wait, back to me?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can do
yeah.
that.
Okay. I mean, the whole Netherdeep, I think, was just such a treat to design. I remember being on that first call with the team and having the atlas, sort of the whole plot read to us and like explained to us, and we got to the Netherdeep, and it was like a realm created by emotions and pain with this heart at the center of it, and I was like,
Spoilers.
me.
Yeah, I
please,
was about to
please.
say, like, you jumped on that. You jumped on that so hard.
It's like my dream for storytelling. I liked being able to think about its environmental design. Some of that was already done, sort of, by the time we got the atlas. Like, the atlas established like different moods for each region, and like the different ways that separated them. And but I got to do a lot of like storytelling through encounters, and what was very cool about that was the tension between this was sort of the tension that I had to hit in the Netherdeep, the tension between revealing things about Elixion, the Apotheon, versus getting the characters to not only self introspect but also think about themselves in relationship to him. There's a lot of like trying to get the players to empathize with him, or to understand maybe some things that they've seen or heard and relate to him, but also like they're also trying to deal with their own emotions of fear and rage and confusion and mistrust. There's so much
And
bubbling.
such a good character too, many layered.
Yeah. What were you gonna say,
I
Hannah?
say, you touched on this. You touched on this earlier, Sadie, but one of the things that is the most wonderful and impressive and fitting thing about the final confrontation is that combat and roleplay approaches are not mutually exclusive. You know, you have both going at once. Yeah, they are not mutually exclusive. That's what I'll say. But it's also not too complex. And I adore that.
Yeah. And that was I think that the last fight feels very anime, in that like you do have to be doing combat at the same time, but what that means is like picture your anime where you're like clashing swords and yelling emotional things at each other, like, like your bitterness is tearing you apart, and like you're dodging some sick, like it's so anime, but in the best way.
Like when the swords clash and you're trying to say something and that other person is trying to say something, and then it's just the sparks are flying and it's
It's gonna be so good. We get there.
Yeah, and it's like it's not going to be, I think, an easy dungeon to run. I would not say that this is a dungeon that a DM can pick up without and like read through once and then run it to its highest potential. That's what I mean by easiest. Like, I don't think it's hard to run, but I think that to maximize, Ginny, it looks like you want to say something. I think that in order to maximize its potential, it requires like a couple read throughs, a good understanding of the emotions of your party, a good understanding of what they'll emotionally respond to, a good understanding of like how to push and pull them in those bits of dialogue. Like it's an easy dungeon to run. It's a hard dungeon to run masterfully and to its highest potential.
Ken's been flashing some of the various monster art. And while we're talking about combat and everything, I wanted to take a little aside here, not a terribly long one, and talk about some of the really beautiful, breathtaking creatures in here, and how you think people are going to react to them. And we got the Moorbounder, we got artwork for that, so
people are gonna love them. Like,
yeah,
they're horrifying, and but they're also like, while some of them are tied to Elixion, they're also general enough that you could drop them into any water setting, and it's like, DMs I think are gonna see these and just start cackling.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't start cackling when I saw those and coming up with ideas for ones that you won't have seen. And
oh jeez.
I'm not gonna lie, I did start just like giggling uncontrollably when I first saw the artwork of the Moorbounder with that gigantic eyeball.
I love the Moorbounder so much. A Moorbounder features heavily.
Yes.
Well, not heavily, but a Moorbounder features in one of the chapters I contributed
Okay,
to.
no, we need to talk about this. Speaking of things that we love that people created, Lithia, please tell the chat what you named a Moorbounder. And
spoilers.
Yes,
it's
this
very
is spoilers.
good.
Please mute if you don't want to know.
It's very good. But you have an option in one of your transitionary period between point A and point B to meet a rogue Moorbounder named Rice Pudding.
Right?
He's gonna be my best friend.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Exactly.
If you could hear the way we collectively lost our crap when Hannah said the words rice pudding.
Cute.
I regret nothing.
As you shouldn't.
Yeah.
All right. So we're running a little short on time, so I'm gonna kind of combine the next few into like a more comprehensive.
No, we can't be near the end already, Jenny.
No.
This has been so good.
I know it happens like that. All right. So final three and answer, whichever parts of it you want. So how experienced are you with organized play, which kind of colors your answers to the next two parts. What do you think is going to be the coolest thing about knowing that hundreds or thousands or, I don't know, maybe even hundreds of thousands of players are going to share in this experience together? And what do you want them to most take home and like feel from this adventure? Because there's a lot to feel. All the feelings. All right, that was a bunch. Lithia, you got the most experience.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah. Start us off strong so that we can inevitably go downhill from there.
Well, it's been a minute since I've dipped my toes into the organized play pool, everybody.
Yeah, but the concept as a whole, you got that over at Mommy Cook too.
I think that players, I mean, any player is going to be excited to meet these rivals. Like there's a difference between an NPC that you meet in a module who is meant to antagonize you, and these rivals who are going to make you feel all the things.
Yeah.
Right? There's gonna be something different in that, whereas like you meet an NPC in a module and they're gone, or if it's a series, they may come back.
Maybe one or two of them throughout the series.
Exactly. But these 5 characters are going to be with you until the end of the game. Hopefully.
Very much that very epic, foil for the adventurers themselves that really, you got your opposite or maybe even your similar, your friends, and they really showcase so much who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that having that come with you from table to table, they are going to be that one thing that stays the same, even if you're playing with a different organized, like, once you move out of that chapter and you move to another, like you may move to another table, they're going to be with you throughout this whole thing. And that is, I think that's going to make players respond a bit better to them, because I mean, for me personally, like I've got my favorite like Adventures League NPCs, but like I want people to be telling me stories about what they've done with their rivals at their tables and how that's making them feel about this adventure.
Madame Fiona and all of her daughters back in Swan.
I love Madame Fiona. She makes great pies.
That's from way back in 2015. I can still remember her name. Madame Fiona and her 5 daughters set you up to, get off in style. You go visit Jenny daughters.
Exactly, and Jenny Greenteeth, who I would immediately make a warlock pack with.
Yes.
Like, yes.
Yes. And, as we, had mentioned here in chat from Censoret, George, we are been working so much on making sure that we're able to make the most out of these rivals for our organized play campaigns. Our DMs have been practicing, and we've developed, by developed, we're using a relationship tracker. We've made it easier to use, virtual play and all of that. So, we're hoping to get as much of this authentic feel of like building upon these relationships, and like maybe it wasn't exactly you five who made this one choice, maybe a couple of you and then a couple of other friends, but the choices carry on and those relationships continue to build on.
The combined Netherdeep universe.
Yes.
Yeah. I think
The Netherdeep cinematic universe.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
And see you guys.
I've played a little and edited a number of Adventures League modules, and Lithia, you were talking about NPCs kind of in standard modules, and one of the things that's really different about the Rivals is that the information given to DMs. We talked about you learn what they want and what they care about and what their goals are, things that they don't have yet, not just for the adventure, but personally. And traditionally, NPCs have a section called, what they know or what do they know. And it's very transactional. It's about the information they can give to the players as plot devices. Rather than as people, and the DM can add all sorts of wonderful roleplay and story, and they have a little backstory, but the Rivals are so much more than that.
Their personalities, desires, and dreams. They've got dreams.
Yeah, it's not just
that song. We've got a dream.
They're as close to a DMPC as you can get in this.
I mean,
and that's what
one of them especially is definitely my DMPC in this adventure. And what was I gonna say? They have these hopes and dreams, but they're all designed so that the players can interact with them. It's not, oh yeah, they have a dream of retiring and becoming a cobbler, or oh yeah, they have a dream to become powerful enough to cast to create some magic item that is not related to the story. Like, they have these dreams that are very people connected, very social in a way. Many of them.
They want to have a friend that they can do the bucket list with.
Exactly.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, so many of my songs on my Rivals playlist are about bucket list kind of things. So it's funny.
I immediately went with the song from Tangled, I've Got a Dream. Which is great because it's, villains there too.
Like they are goals that you would expect players to have. Oh
yeah. Although you can't really ever expect players to do what you expect them to do.
No, not at all.
But they're not just like story goals. They're like wanting to have they're more even like subconscious goals, like really wanting to have these meaningful conversations with people or this kind of fulfillment.
I'd like to actually answer the last question, since they've so deftly handled your second one. First of all, zero experience with organized play. The most organized we are is that me and my home game meet the same time at Thursday every week.
Which is impressive.
Yeah, it is very impressive.
I have the Unicorn D&D group. I am the organized play. But no.
The closest you've got too, I think, was you edited that one thing from Matthew Whitby and I where we're like, people can shove this in their organized play, right?
Yes. I did, yeah. So I'm coming at this conversation with I think organized play is very cool. Respect. I have not been a part of it, but what I want people to feel and take home from this adventure, and this kind of ties into, for me, the coolest thing about knowing that hundreds or thousands of people are going to experience this adventure. I want people, after that final chapter, I hope that they take away a hope and a love for humanity and a confirmation of the beautiful things that can happen when you reach out and love somebody. The strength that comes from community and from people, because that sits so much at the heart of this adventure, and the idea that people are gathering together at their tables, playing the same adventure, telling the same but different stories, each putting their own personal touch on it, but hopefully coming away having become fulfilled or strengthened by these experiences. I want them to come away, I think, with as much love for humanity that I did writing this. That's my dream when it comes to Call of the Netherdeep.
And I think that's so beautiful, first off. And also, like, I think that's like so fitting for organized play, right? Because it's strangers coming together to do this thing that we love. And, you know, we're here and we're collaborating toward these goals. And like, if you can't have some kind of faith in humanity by being like, all right, I've just fetched 5 strangers out of the Netherdeep, and you know, and we made this beautiful story, right? Like, if that can't give you hope, especially when you're doing this story that has all these emotions and these feels and these intentional, you know, like connections there, like, then like, who can? And
I
like, I absolutely believe that wish will come true over and over and over again at
I hope so.
table after table. This is such a great story. All right. Anybody else have any thoughts to add on that series of questions?
Perfect. That's
No, it was
perfect.
I just got a cookie delivered.
Where's
Ooh,
my cookie?
right?
Yeah, Jenny, share.
The bakery is currently still closed for maternity leave.
Okay.
You're just in the kitchen.
Yeah. But yeah, so you know, anybody else have any thoughts about, you know, what do you want people to take away, or the coolest thing about knowing that hundreds of thousands of people, before we go into our closing thoughts? Or you want to just go straight to closing thoughts, whatever.
I just mentioned this. I didn't know if you had chat open, then if it was gonna mess up the overlay, but like AL wise, I would love to know. This is just like a personal thing. I would love to know how many people. I want to know what ending people like how people end their campaigns. Like get me a pie chart or something.
Yeah.
I want to
Like-
know what branch people take in chapter 4. That will be
Ooh.
fun. Yeah.
So, you know, we can absolutely do, you know, some surveys of our player base as they're going through this, because we want to know what they love too. Because if we know what they love, we can make better events for them. And Ted has put absolutely in all capital letters.
Ted,
yeah,
you're the best.
Thanks, Ted.
It's true. It's true. Ted's the man behind the curtain there. Slightly less bald man, making things happen. But yeah, I can't wait to see the decision points that people are making, and like what's connecting best with each group. And sorry, Azure Cobalt. Considering how many writers are here, I'm just looking to avoid chapter 11.
Can you also get me data on
Okay.
how many groups get the Easter egg in the Netherdeep when they take the thing?
I love these cryptic things.
These extremely cryptic non-spoil. I'll message you, but I want a data point on that.
We'll want to keep the surveys manageable so people fill them out. But we'll see how
I just want the AO players watching to remember that at some point they're supposed to take a thing and then end up taking things that they don't need to take.
Take all the things.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Definitely go touch everything in the Netherdeep. That will not go poorly.
Touch everything in all of the dungeons.
Yeah.
But actually,
if it's mysteriously warm, definitely touch it.
Yes.
Sorry, I was playing running an adventure Alan Patrick wrote. There's like this warm thing in the middle of like Icewind Dale. My character's like, I touch it, and he's like, are you sure? And I'm like, oh yeah, my character is dead sure. It's warm. I'm cold. I touch it. Bad things happen.
Exactly.
Yeah. We do love data. And Ted, you want me to read that second bit too? And in our test games, we made something extra warm to make sure that people picked it up in chapter 1. So, yes, we are here. We are on the same page. We're going to get as much data as we can get. And I want to take this opportunity again to thank each of you so much for coming on the show. This has been an absolute delight hearing your thoughts, knowing what you love, and hopefully we'll be able to see if that aligns with what the players love, which I am certain that it will. But that said, does anybody have any closing thoughts that they want to make sure that everyone has about this book before we go into our where can everybody find you bits?
Have fun. It
Yes.
is so fun.
It is very fun.
Make it yours.
Yeah, make
Yes.
it
Every
yours.
time.
That's what it's for. Have fun. Here's what I'll say, and I'll say this to both players and DMs. Something that we all and Critical Role and the creators believe in so strongly that we have it written in the books, written in Taldora Reborn, is that at your table, the story is yours, Exandria is yours. You don't have to do it the way Matt Mercer would do it. You don't have to compare yourself. Nobody playing at your table, can tell you that your story is wrong. Not even Matt. If Matt's sitting at your table, he's one of your players.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't
So
even have to
make it your own. That's the hope. That's the intention. That's what we want to see.
You don't even have to ask your players how they want to do this, okay? That's not
Right.
required. It's just a good
No. Jenny, 80% of DM advice boils down to listen to your players. It just all boils down to that.
To be fair, that whole tidbit that Hannah just shared is in the Critical Role DM guide. Make it your world. Make it your game. Your players are there to have fun with you, and you can't replicate someone else.
Yeah.
So just be you, uniquely you, and you be your unique game.
I'm going to say don't be afraid to have emotions about this game, because this game is going to give you emotions. And so just lean into it, because you never know what's going to come out of experiencing an emotion.
Yeah. Be a little vulnerable,
Yeah, be a little vulnerable.
I have so many emotions all of the time.
Yeah.
It's hard to be vulnerable. Yeah. I was thinking it's hard to be vulnerable with strangers. It's hard to roleplay with strangers. Looking back on my organized play experiences, I would always rather have tried to roleplay and interact with people and then, even be disappointed than not have tried. And I think that Netherdeep offers this campaign, this organized play campaign is going to offer so many wonderful opportunities to roleplay and tell stories with others at your table. Take advantage of that.
Sadie?
Oh gosh, everyone said all the good stuff. My last thing about this book is that I hope that just as it's about being connected and remembered, that you make wonderful memories, and that the stories that you tell are the kinds of stories that you'll be talking about in like 50 years. And I love already that we're seeing people share we're seeing you share like resources and ideas. Like it's, make a memorable story, make something that you will look back on fondly in 50 years, and leave your imprint on people's lives by being vulnerable and by having fun. And I'm just so excited to see what people come up with and what they do with this adventure. I'm so excited.
And then my closing piece of advice I want to leave people with is like, if you don't do any other preparation really as a player or a DM, please prepare more as a DM. Look at all of the gorgeous art. There's so many different art styles, and use that to color the story that you want to build. It just, there's so much there that you can just be like, all right, I've seen this, and that has made me, and therefore my character in their mind, have this dream, and that's going to be the thing that I'm striving for. There's so much art there that like my characters are all like, okay, we're going to go to the jungle. No, we're going to go to the desert. No, we hate sand.
It's awful, and it's everywhere.
Too much sand. It's everywhere.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, but you don't have to know all of the lore of Critical Role to get into this. I just started learning the lore of Critical Role on last month's episode with Graham and
oh, well, we're happy to talk about that anytime too, but absolutely you don't have to know.
Yeah.
No, you don't. And the book does a really good job of filling you in on what you do need to know. Promise. Like this book is not over pretentious by saying like, here's a lore dump, memorize this all. It tells you what you need to know. It helps you the entire way. It's very well written for that.
Not to toot our own horns, but it is.
I didn't write that, so I'm allowed to say that. It's well written by hands that are not me.
Graham and George, by the way, not to leave George out. And that was a wonderfully enlightening episode where I was just like, I have all of these trinkets from the Beetle and Grimm box.
Here's what they mean.
Yeah. We went through it. I learned so much. It was the best time. And we're gonna have another Critical Role episode next month. So if you do want to learn more than we've already covered here today, we'll be back next month with more people who worked on this book. That said, though, I'm just gonna keep saying thank you again. It's been so much fun. But where can everyone find you online? And feel free to drop your links in chat if you've got them, to talk to you, to commission you if you ever have time in your life to do such things, or just to say how cool you are. I don't know, people do that, right? We're gonna start with Lithia, because much like me, she believes that everything should be easy and just your name.
Correct. Give me just a minute to finish writing out my links. You can.
I'm going to keep talking. Right? You can't type and talk at the same time. I know that.
Right. No, if you want to find me anywhere on the internet, you just have to know what my name is. So Twitter at Lithia Jenkins, Instagram Lithia Jenkins, here on Twitch at Lithia Jenkins, and coming soon, if you follow me on Twitter, you would have seen that little sneak peek of my website coming soon, lithiajenkins.com. So yeah.
It's going to have purple on it.
It absolutely is going to have purple on it.
Among other colors, yeah.
All right, yeah, that's where you find me.
This is why we're friends. Among many, many, many other reasons.
All right, Sadie, we're going to find you.
Yeah. Hi. Yes, you can find me on Twitter for the most part. I do a lot of chatting there, and I love to talk to people. So please do come chat with me on Twitter. I'll also put my website if you just want to look at some work that I've done. And I don't have a Twitch or a YouTube like Lithia because I'm not cool as Lithia, but maybe someday. But do follow Lithia because Lithia does good stuff.
Stop it. Follow Sadie.
I will say, Sadie, you can totally get a YouTube and just use it to make playlists of all the videos that you want people to look at. Ooh. You don't have to create your own content.
Perfect.
It is excellent. Yeah. Here are some YouTube videos that you should watch.
That thing that you're asking about, I've got a playlist just for you.
And that is exactly what I have. I have so many private playlists that like people are like, I want to learn more about this. I'm like, good news, everybody. I did too.
Now I just want to link people to your playlist.
Yeah. Yeah, Jen, give us a link to your playlist.
What do you need to know about? All right, Hannah.
I need to know everything. Oh, I am Hannah Rose. Oh yes, I have this message all queued up in chat. I am on Twitter a lot. Some days I log off when I need to work, and I talk about games and nerd stuff. And I'm also on Instagram where I talk about nerd stuff and post cat pictures. Yeah, like Sadie said, please come, chat, comment at us about Critical Role and Netherdeep and Exandria and all of that. And thank you so much, Ginny and Ted, for having us and having us together. This is like this really special opportunity to get to not only talk about this thing we created and worked on and brought to being, but to do it together.
Yeah, and I thought it would be kind of fun to get the girls together.
We should also shout out the other folks, the other gals on this adventure. Yes. First of all, lead designers, Matthew Mercer and James Hake, and also co-writers, Cassandra Kaw and Mackenzie de Armas.
Absolutely.
And we're hoping to have at least 2 of those people, if not all 3, next month. I'm waiting on some of them to return my messages. So we couldn't get everybody at once. There would just be too many people talking, and nobody would get to say anything. So, yes, Sadie. It's taken a long time for us to synchronize our internet personalities. So, don't feel bad.
You're calling me out here too. Yes. Hannah and Lithia have made themselves very easy to find, and I have made myself a strange cryptid of varying usernames across the space. Maybe sometime I will.
It's a little ARG puzzle hunt.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, every friend group has to have at least one cryptid, and Sadie, you are it.
Yeah. That's okay. I give Alan grief every time because he has to spell his out every time, and they're like, "What does that mean?" It doesn't mean anything. It's just a made-up word.
Like before this stream, Lithia was like, "Sadie, why does incandescent have a random A in it?" The answer is
this jerk who's been
the answer is because incandescent was taken by a man who hasn't touched Twitter since he took it, and I'll never forgive him.
So if anybody wants to go fight that man, don't do it. But appreciate the thought. Anyways, that said, everyone, you can find me on all the things at Jenny Loveday. Ted did put mine there. And more importantly, you can find the giveaway winner that Ted has put in chat. Ted is putting in chat. There it is. There it is, right there in chat right now.
Yay!
The Gunsmith has won.
Yay!
He's going to reach out to you via Twitch chat. So if you've never gotten a Twitch chat, it's up in the top right-hand corner next to your little icon. So contacting you to sort that out. If you want to be among the first players to experience organized play for Call of the Netherdeep, you can still sign up right now to play this weekend. So games Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday all day long. And you can get that, of course, over at on the Yawning Portal or our really handy short link, baldman.link/April-TIX. And I'm sure Ted's about to drop that link as well. And of course, our events this month are benefiting our charity, which is Voices of Children this month. And they are helping children and families in Ukraine who are struggling with the trauma of war, making sure they have food, shelter, education, all of those things to have a vibrant upbringing, specifically those children. And our next actual play stream, if you want to watch people game, is going to be Friday night, the 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And our next event is this weekend. Come play. And then, of course, one last thing to drop on there. You might have heard some announcements about the D&D Direct event tomorrow. If you want to hang out, Dave the Baldman himself is going to be streaming his interactions from the digital show floor on Gather.town on this very channel. So you can watch the little virtual Baldman avatar wander around and talk with whoever wants to talk with Dave, who is a very interesting person. So I can't.
I just set up my little virtual avatar for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's going to have all sorts of interesting conversations with amazing people like Hannah, who I'm sure is going to have a million questions about. Dave, why are you so tall? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, luckily the avatar has no height, or I would be.
Yeah.
It's really cool. They allow you to like an amiibo,
Oh,
right?
they do? I didn't see that.
I don't know. I don't have the Gather.town thing that I know of. I'm not at home, and I haven't been checking my email.
Maybe it's better that I don't look and I stay on normal height.
That'd be really cool though if it was like the amiibos where you could like adjust your height. Because I always made a little short one because my dad's was like the tallest one, and we'd be standing next to one another and be like, "Look at me, a little short."
I can't hear amiibo without thinking of that YouTube video of where they play the me music, but it's like slightly off tune.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that one pained me, right? If you are not already part of our Discord community, definitely invite you to join us over there, the Baldman Games community server, where we talk about, all things D&D and share amazing resources to help you make better games. And, you can find people to play games with. That's discord.gg/BMG. And ask 8 million questions that Ted and Spencer will almost instantaneously answer for you. I added the almost in there. That way Ted doesn't have to hunt me down.
There's that liability.
You can see the fear in Ted's eyes.
That said, thank you all so much for tuning in, and congratulations again to the Gunsmith for winning today's giveaway. We're gonna have another giveaway during the live play event. That is a thing that I have promptly forgotten what it is that we're giving away. And then, next month when we do our announcement stream announcing all the cool things that we're doing, we'll be giving away tickets for virtual D&D weekend, as we do every month. So if you're tight on funds, come show up to that stream next month and get you some tickets. Come play. It'll be fun. Or, I don't know, hang around. Whatever. Fun. That said, that is it for this episode of our Baldman Games Chat About, and thank you all so much for tuning in. Good night, everyone. Bye.
Goodbye.